Most people don't know what they're looking forward to because they have no idea where they're going. It's like not putting an address into your maps before you go on a drive, because unless you have been there before and you know exactly how to get, you're going to end up in a totally different place to where you intended or where you thought you were going to. So what putting a address into a navigation system does is it work out the route you need to take, adjust it along the way to make sure that you end up getting to your chosen destination, right? So you start with the destination and then you figure out how you're going to get there. A lot of entrepreneurs just focus on what's next. That leads to chaos. It leads to a lack of purpose. So if you're just focusing on literally the step that's in front of you and you don't know further down the line where you're going to, obviously everything comes from each step that you take and you have to keep taking steps to get there. But unless you know where those steps are leading to, it lacks purpose and it creates chaos. You've got to learn how to do a vision-led plan that is both adaptable and aligns the body, the mind, and your bank account. It doesn't leave one of those things out because all three are really important. So before meeting Kay, I knew how to make money. I knew. So I was pretty good at making money. I didn't make loads and loads of money, but I certainly made more money than a lot of people around me. And I was always focused on what the next paycheck I was going to get was. How much bonus could I earn that month? How much money was I going to earn that year? Moving from 20,000 to 30,000 to 40,000. I was just focused on that next thing and didn't really know why I was focused on that next thing, apart from the fact that I just wanted to have more things and buy more stuff. There was no end goal. It was just a way of leading a better life for myself and, you know, for my family and wife and kids that I had at the time, you know, because this was before I met Kay and really realized my purpose. You know, it was just to give more to the people that were around me, essentially, and to buy more things and have a better life for myself. And there's nothing wrong wanting a better life for yourself. There's absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I needed something more. I needed to have a bigger purpose in life. I felt like something was missing. And I know that there's some of you out there, you know, inside that you were meant for bigger things instead of that next thing that you're going for. Now, it could be the next deal, could be the next level of wealth, you know, whatever that might be, whatever that next thing is. If you only have that in mind, like you need the next thing that you're going after, absolutely. But you need to know how that ties into the one after that, and then the one after that, and then what you do to work your way backwards. So with my mind clouded, I was in a relationship. I didn't really know how far ahead I was going to go. I didn't really know the long-term plans of what that was. I felt like a prisoner in my life. I didn't feel like I was in control of it. I felt like someone else was. And again, it felt like there was something missing. Like I said, I had no long-term plans. I was just focused on that next thing. And I couldn't help but feel that the next thing, while I wanted it, wasn't enough, didn't give me the thing that I wanted. When I finally broke away from this was when I found Kay. Kay allowed me to be me again, allowed me to be free of thought, free to do things how I wanted to do them. And she encouraged me to do that. She gave me the support to be able to do that. And I started to realize that every great man needs a great woman in their life, and every great woman needs a great man in their life to help let them be free to be the person that they are and make their own decisions, but also support them and be behind them in the decisions that they make. And that's what Kay did for me. And she saved me, really. She saved me to be me again. And that allowed me in 2015 to start realizing why I was put on this earth. And that was very liberating for me. And 2015 was the first time that I wrote down my long-term goals. And my long-term goals started to bigger than me. Not as big as they are now, but certainly bigger than I was then. And it wasn't about the next thing. I was starting to think about the things that I wanted after the next thing. So at the time, 2015, I was thinking of things that like freedom, a place to call home, you know, a place that we owned, that we called that we called home that we really liked, that we felt like was ours. I really wanted that back then. I also wanted job satisfaction. I wanted to feel like I was giving back, doing the day-to-day work that I was doing. And I also wanted Kay to be free from what she was doing because she didn't enjoy what she was doing. And one of my 3 to 5 year goals was for her to not have to work for anyone else, that she was either, doing whatever she wanted to do, or she was just doing something else that had nothing to do with, having a boss and being told what to do. Essentially, she could make her own decisions in her job. I also thought back then that I wanted to have, a future for my kids. My kids needed someone to look up to. So I wanted to start building a legacy that the people around me could be proud of. And since then, because it actually, by doing that, liberated me so much and gave everything that I did in the moment purpose. Because I hadn't really defined exactly what my purpose was then. I think I did that in 2016, 2017, but it gave me purpose in the sense of I knew what I was doing now was working towards what I wanted in the next sort of 3 to 5 years, 10 to 20 years, and so on. So it gave, the actions and the things that I was doing and achieving now some purpose because it was working towards those different things in the future. So every year since then, I have written out my goals, 10 to 20 year goals, maybe 15 to 20 years. Let me start that again. So since then, every year, I have written out my long-term goals. So between 15, 20 years, maybe a bit longer, just those long-term goals, what I wanted to achieve when I'm like, 55, 60. And then my 3 to 5 year goals. And actually, I think I do my 3 and my 5 year, but you could just pick one if you wanted to. But I've done my 3 and my 5 year goals. And then I do my 1 year goals. So what I want to achieve within the next 12 months. And I've always done it in that order as well. Started with the further away and then kept breaking it down to closer and closer in the future so that I could see how it all tied in with each other. And doing that every year was really good. It really gave me something by writing things down. If you write, you invite, so it really imprints it in your brain. But also I would write it down really neatly on pieces of A4 paper and then put it up on the wall so that I could see it every day. And I could also tick them off. When it was like the yearly goals, I could tick them off as I was achieving them throughout the year. And that was really powerful as well. Then in 2017, 2018, I read the book Measure What Matters by John Doerr. And that gave me some insight into how to plan through results. And I was already setting goals and stuff, but this gave me some real structure on how to break things down even further than the 1 year. So for a couple of years, I've already been breaking it down from my long term to my medium term, 3 to 5 years, and then my 1 year goals, sort of more shorter term, but I've not broken it down any further than that. And John Doerr in Measure What Matters taught me about objectives and key results. So what I then started doing was setting my key objectives for the year and the results, the smaller sort of results that I needed to achieve, the key results that he says in the book, to make sure that that objective is hit. So the objective is sort of like a description of what it is you want to achieve. And then the key results are the things that have proven that you've achieved it. So almost like a goal, overhanging goal, the objective, and then measures of success to say whether you've achieved that objective or not. Now, in the book, they do it quarterly. What I've decided to do is do it yearly and quarterly. So I set objectives and key results for the year and then breaking it down into quarters of objectives and key results as well. So I started doing that. And again, that was really powerful. Like it literally turned everything around. That's when KG Inspired Property was born and KG Short Stay, which is our short-term rental management company. That was born in 2018. And implementing that into our business really got it going. It enabled Kay to quit her job at the end of 2018. And then when we got to beginning of 2019, we went to Tony Robbins' Unleash the Power Within. First Tony Robbins live event that I'd been to. Was really excited. We got, almost near the front, which was awesome. I think we had diamond tickets. And as you got really close to Tony, I think I high-fived Tony as well when he walked past, which was awesome. It was great. However, what Tony talked about then, which again sat with me, was his RPM, results planning method. And again, I'd sort of already been doing it anyways, but it really affirmed the importance of working towards your results, the results that you want to achieve. And the point that he made, and this was always stuck with me, is you may not need to do all the things that you think you need to do to get the result, because the actions aren't the point. The point is the result. The reason you do the actions is to get the result. So Tony Robbins was talking about massive action, and absolutely take massive action, go all in. But the thing that you're aiming to get is the result. And sometimes you don't need to do all the things that you need to do to get the result. So it's the results planning method. So the way that we're planning here, and this is the importance, the way that I've always planned and done since 2019, going to the Tony Robbins event, is to plan with results. The only time you really should be planning your actions and the things that you're going to do is on a weekly, possibly monthly basis. Everything else should be the results that you want to achieve. So lastly, the last thing that has developed this framework even further is in the last 18 months, we came across a new peer group, and it's Dan Hill, who's my mentor at the moment, and the Property Entrepreneur. And one thing that they do is they do something called Sunday Sanity. And Sunday Sanity is basically at the beginning of each week, you think about all the tasks that you need to do, 10 tasks that you need to do, the key 10 things that you need to do that week that tie into the things that you need to do for the month and for the quarter. And this was another game changer for me in the way that I was planning. So you can see through how I've done things over the last 3 years, it's just grown and developed, where you go from planning long-term, medium-term, short-term to the year, then breaking that down into objectives and key results for the year, and then objectives and key results for the quarter. And then the month would have been planned out by what I wanted to achieve for the quarter. So just taking those key results for the quarter and assigning them to the month, right, within that quarter. And then by joining the Property Entrepreneur and being mentored by Dan Hill, they've taught us how to then tie your weekly tasks into your month and your quarter, which again was fantastic because it allowed me to plan my diary out each week and absolutely do the things that tie into the month, that then tie into the quarter, that then tie into the year, and then the year ties into the 3 and 5 year, and the 3 and 5 year ties into the much longer term aspirational visionary goal that you want to get. Now, what I've done with all of this stuff that I've learned over the since 2015, since Kay liberated me from my previous life, is I've taken all these things and I've made them into a way that supports the body, the mind, and your bank account. This isn't just about getting a phenomenal bank account, because what's the point in having a phenomenal bank account if your mind and your body aren't in the right place, because you can't enjoy your money? There's loads of really blooming rich people out there, really wealthy people out there that are unhappy. And the only way you can be happy is if you balance and blend the body and the mind with your bank account and treat them with equal importance. And within my planning method, this is how I put them into the way that I plan now. I set goals for each area. So it's not just financial goals or things that I want to buy. It's goals for my mind and it's goals for my body as well. So this is the Carnivore Entrepreneur vision and planning framework. And there's 3 steps to it. And again, PDF for you to download. Feel free to download it. This is a much bigger PDF. Again, you can do this all on blank piece of paper. The PDF not only gives you the step-by-step guide, but it also gives you a little bit of a template to be able to use. So feel free to print it off and use it for your planning. And you can then put it up and it will create a little bit of a vision board for you as well. So the first one is the future focused vision. And this is you putting your body, mind, and bank account goals down for your long-term, medium-term, and shorter-term metrics. So as an example, with your body, it's going to be body metrics like body fat and weight and things that you can lift and things that you can do with your body, energy you're going to have. Your mind could be experiences that you're going to do. It could be the time that you're going to get back, how much time you're going to be working and how much time is going to be spent, just doing what you want to do and being free. And your bank account is obviously your income, your wealth, and your things that you want to buy, right? Things that you want to spend your money on. And yeah, you're going to spend your money on experiences and other things as well. But this is specifically things that you want to buy, your income and your generational wealth. So your future focus vision is your 10 to 20 year goals. And, it might even be longer than that. So I would say minimum 10 years, but you could go up to 25 or 30 years if you're a bit younger, right? Then you've got so you want to write those down, start with those. Then you've got your 3 to 5 years. And again, you can do what I do and split them up. You can do a 3-year and a 5-year goal, or you can just do a 5-year or whatever works for you. And again, you want to take what you've set for your longer term vision and then break that down in what you believe you can achieve within the next 3 to 5 years. And then you take your 3 to 5 years and again, break the body, mind, and bank account goals into what you want to achieve in the next 12 months. Now, this is a great exercise to do at the tail end of a year or at the beginning of a new year. What I tend to do is I tend to reflect. At the end of the year, I tend to reflect on the previous year. And then in the beginning of a new year, that's when I set the goals that I want, sort of December, January time, to make sure that I'm really set up for the next 12 months. So that's your future focused vision framework. And then number 2 is the quarterly momentum plan. And again, these are all split up into body, mind, and bank account. We're going to treat the goals with equal importance. So you need to have equal focus on all 3 because they will all help each other, right? Your body will help your bank account will help your mind will help your body, your mind will help your bank account. So it all feeds into each other. Remember that. So the quarterly momentum plan is you're going to take your year and you're going to break it down into the next. So you're going to plan the next quarter objectives that you need to work towards that next, your 12-month goals. So you're going to have your objectives, and I wouldn't have more than 3 objectives. So your 3 objectives for the quarter and the key results that you need to achieve to make sure that you get that objective. Then what you're going to do is you're going to take those key results that you've got under each objective and you're going to assign those to a month, right? Those results, those goals that you need to be able to hit those objectives, they're going to be assigned to a month and you're going to put them in as to where you're going to hit those in the quarter and you're going to put a date on each of them, right? So make sure that you put a date on each of them and you know what month they sit in. So when you set your monthly goals, you're putting those in to your month. And that's the next part of the quarterly momentum plan is you're going to take your quarterly objectives and key results and you're going to put your key results into which month you need to achieve them by. The third thing is the weekly high performance top 10. And this is what's going to keep you in massive action mode that Tony Robbins talks about. Each week on a Sunday, that's a good time to do it. Maybe even, you can do this on a Friday or a Saturday, depending on when your week ends. So whenever your week ends, at the very latest, you want to do this first thing on a Monday morning, but ideally before that. But whenever your week ends, you sit down and you write down the 3 things that you want to achieve next week and then the 10 key things that you need to do to achieve those 3 things. And then put them in your diary. So you take each one of those 10 things that you need to do and you put them in your diary so that they're scheduled in, ready to go, and you have no way that you can miss doing them. And once they're scheduled in, then you know that they're set in stone and you're going to get them done. And then it's just about ticking them off as you go throughout the week. And you should be aiming to get all of them done. At very minimum, 8 to 9 of them need to get done because sometimes things happen, we get that, and they might need to be carried over. Or maybe you don't need to do the thing to get the result. As Tony Robbins said, don't confuse action with results, or don't confuse movement with results. So here's a little level up you can do. With the future focused vision, what you can do is you can take your words on the long-term 10 to 20 year vision plan and your goals for what you want to achieve at the end, and actually put them into pictures. Go onto Vistaprint or go onto some printing website, put the pictures in and create a nice big poster that you can put up in your office or your bedroom or both, or whatever, somewhere in your house that you can see every single day. So that vision and that thing that you want to achieve is not only in words that you've written down, but is also in pictures that will stick in your mind every single day. So my challenge to you, write down your future focus vision. So your long-term 10 to 20 year, medium-term 3 to 5 year, and shorter-term 1 year. Write down what those goals are and share in the comments what one of your long-term goals. I want to know what your long-term goals are. So share in the comments what they are. Just remember, success isn't random. It's built on your terms using this framework. This framework is the game changer. So again, take notes. Feel free to download the PDF. Use it to your heart's content. Share in the comments what your long-term goals are. Thank you very much. I'll speak to you guys soon. If this episode resonated with you, share it with someone who needs to hear it. You are a carnivore entrepreneur. Live life how it was supposed to be lived on your terms with strength, energy, and purpose. I'll see you on the next episode.